Shalom. Most High in Christ bless. My name is Mycha'EL.
And this is Mycha'EL.
And today's lesson is Native Americans, the Northern Kingdom of Israel. And what we're going to do is we're going to take you through this Bible and we're going to show you, along with historical facts, that the Native Americans are in fact a part of the Northern Kingdom of Israel. The first scripture that we're going to bring out is the book of John, chapter 8, and verse 32. The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32. And it reads, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." And what we're going to do is we're going to go through this Bible, and we're going to give you the truth so that you know what the truth is, and it's going to be edifying, and it's going to help to free our people. And hopefully it'll go back to these laws, statutes, commandments of as blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those who are scattered to the four corners of the earth that fit the curses in Deuteronomy 28.
That's right.
From there we're going to go to the book of Isaiah, chapter
28 and verse 10.
28 verse 10.
I got it. Isaiah chapter 28 verse 10 says, "For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little." So when reading the book, we go on precept by precept. The Bible's like a puzzle. We got to where all the pieces fit in together. So we use the whole Bible when studying, and we don't use sound bites.
From there, we're going to go to the book of Mycha'EL, chapter 2.
Or not yet.
Okay.
You want to go to today's lesson about history proves that the Native Americans are the chosen people of the Most High. They're among the 12 tribes of Israel. So where I'm going to use this book called The Black Indians by William Lorraine Katz, to show you how their secular history proves that they're among the tribes of Israel. Because many people, when they first come into the truth, they read Deuteronomy chapter 28 and particularly verse 68, which says that I will send you to Egypt again by ships. And they think it's just the Negroes that fit that prophecy in the Bible. And they also read about in Revelation chapter 1 about Yahweh Shai, who had a woolly textured hair and dark skin. And they have a tough time comprehending that the indigenous people of the Americas are fit the curses and are among the tribes of Israel. So hopefully for the people that got eyes to see and the ears to hear the truth, we're going to show you that secular history proves that the Native Americans are the chosen people of the Most High. We want to bring out Jeremiah chapter 12 verse 9. Start with Jeremiah chapter 12 verse 9.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 12, verse 9. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 12, verse 9.
Okay.
"Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird."
As a speckled bird.
"Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour."
So the Most High says his heritage is unto him like a speckled bird. When you look at the speckled bird, it has various colors, from brown shade to black shade.
Many different hues.
Exactly.
And when you look at the Northern Kingdom, they are in variation of many different hues. From all the way down in South America, from on up to North America, where the indigenous Native Americans are. They all in variation of hues. If you go into certain part of Mexico, if you go to Oaxaca, and then go to Belize, they're in variation of hues. If you go to Puerto Rico, and you go from San Juan to Louisa, They are in variation of hues. So that shows you right there that our heritage is unto us as a speckled bird.
Many different shades.
Can.
And we want to also pull up Hosea chapter 7, verse 8. I got it, I'll read it. Hosea chapter 7, verse 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned.
Now, I don't know how you don't get any other explanation than that these people are going to be variations in hues from that. Because it says Ephraim is a cake unturned. Now, me personally, I'm a chef. I know if you put a cake in the oven and you leave it there for 20 minutes and you don't turn it and you leave that one side is going to be darker than the other side. One side is going to be lighter than the dark side.
That's right.
It's going to be in different variations of hue. It's said that they have mingled themselves among the nations. You got to remember that Ephraim was not keeping the customs of the Most High. They were called the uncircumcision. They were mixing with the other cultures. Plus, they had been through various captivities. They had mixed with the Assyrians. They had mixed with the Edomites.
That's right.
Ephraim had mingled himself among the nations. It is a cake unturned. There's no other understanding that you could come about through that. Plus, he just gave you the precept to show you that our heritage is unto us like a speckled bird. So
Precept by precept.
Line upon line, here a little and there a little. So that's two different scriptures that shows you that they have a variation in hue.
We want to give a Shabbat Shalom to our brother Kayem Yah.
Kayem Yah. Kum Yasharallah. From there,
Well, let's go in the book.
we're going to go to the book Black Indians. And we're going to start at page 13. And we're going to go 3 paragraphs down. To prevent Africans and Native Americans from uniting, Europeans played skillfully on racial differences and ethnic rivalries. They kept the pot of animosity boiling. Whites turned Indians into slave hunters and slave owners and pitted against dark-skinned, free against enslaved, black Indians against pure Africans or pure Indians.
So who turned the Native Americans into slave hunters?
They kept the pot of animosity boiling. Whites turned Indians into slave hunters and slave owners, and Africans into Indian fighters. Light-skinned Africans were pitted against dark-skinned, free against enslaved, and black Indians against pure Africans or pure Indians.
Doesn't that sound like the Willie Lynch?
You took the words out of my mouth.
So they use the Willie Lynch to divide, not only divide the light-skinned versus dark-skinned blacks and young against the other, but also to divide the blacks and Native Americans also. Because they know together we're one people, we're the same people.
Those who have put history into books have emphasized differences between Africans and Native Americans. For example, they have stressed that Europeans encountered Indians as distinct individuals and members of proud nations, and Africans as nameless slaves. Little mention is made of the enslavement of Native Americans.
So who was also enslaved?
Native Americans.
All right.
And nothing is said about cultural similarities.
Similarities.
Cultural similarities between the two dark peoples. In 1984, scholar Theda Perdue said, by emphasizing the actual exaggerated and imagined differences, Africans and Indians, whites successfully masked the cultural similarities of the two races, as well as their mutual exploitation by whites.
They don't teach you this in school, but the Native Americans and the Negroes had cultural similarities. Now, why did they have cultural similarities? Let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 44. How could two people from different sides of the earth have cultural similarities. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 44, then we'll go to Jeremiah 17, verse 9.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 44. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt.
So the children of Israel got their culture from the Most High. And that's why when you study secular history, the cultures of the Native Americans and the Negroes before they was kidnapped and brought to America had customs that came from the Torah.
That's right.
Where they kept feast days, they wore fringes, polygamy. They had cultures that came from the Torah.
And the oldest copy of the Ten Commandments was found on this side of the world. It's called Los Lunar Stone.
How'd that happen? How do you explain that?
Native American artifacts have been found to be written in Cherokee. Research the Back Creek Stone.
That's right.
All it takes is a little research. And they've been around for hundreds of years, and now all of a sudden Esau's trying to call these plagiaristic artifacts. But they never been called plagiarist artifacts before now. And also recently, they even found artifacts that resemble a Back Creek Stone on the other side of the world. How did that happen?
And I believe it said that outside of Israel, there's more Hebrew artifacts in America than any other place in the world, even more than Africa.
That's right.
It's actually the evidence also that the indigenous people, according to the descendants of their father, Numbers 1:18 are the Israelites according to the Bible.
That's right.
Next I want to match that up with Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage.
So they will discontinue from thy heritage. That's why a lot of Native Americans don't know that they're Israelites.
And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
So because our fathers failed to keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High God, Yahweh, the Most High scattered us to the four corners of the earth and caused us to discontinue from our heritage, forget who we were according to the Bible.
And they themselves, they discontinued from their heritage as well. They were supposed to come and depart from the king of Assyria and come worship the Most High in the land that never mankind dwelt.
That's right.
And what they did is they came over here and they gave worship to Kachinas instead of give worship back to the Most High God. They took on the similarities and custom of the Assyrian captivity. That's what they did. And then they were meant to discontinue from their heritage, or they was made to discontinue from their heritage and even serve in bondage and go on ship in bondage into Spain and into Portugal.
Right, which we'll deal with in the later chapters.
From there, we're going to go back in here. Is where we're going?
Yes, back to the Black Indians.
We're going to go back into the book, Black Indians, and we're going to pick it up. At page 26 through 27. It began with Columbus. For the people of the Americas, the arrival of Columbus was hardly a blessing. On his first day, October 12th, 1492, the explorer wrote in his diary, "I took some of the natives by force." He later found the original inhabitants to be tractable, peaceable, and concluded there is not in the world a better nation. His response as a European was to say that Indians must be made to work and adopt our ways.
So he said that Christopher Columbus came to the Americas and found that the people that were peaceable, tractable, peaceable. Where did that sounds familiar. Let's look at 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 39. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 39.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 39. "And whereas now that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him."
Who was it referring to? Verse 4.
"Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land."
So this is precept in 2 Kings chapter 17, where the northern kingdom was conquered by the Syrians and deported to Assyria. They decided to come to another land, which is Azra. That's what Azra means, another land.
Verse 41. "But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statues."
So they can keep their statues?
"That they might keep their statues, which they never kept in their own land."
All right.
"And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow place of the river.
Okay.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Azra."
So it took them a year and a half to sail from the land of captivity, Assyria, to Azra, which means another land.
Verse 46. "Then dwelt they there until the latter time."
Until the when?
"Until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come."
So that means they're there until this day.
That's right. And we're not arguing that some of the northern kingdom, a remnant of them, are still in Africa. Because in verse 48 it says, "But those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders." So some of them were left behind. We're not arguing that some of the northern kingdom are not in Africa. But the northern kingdom, they departed from another, from the other side of the earth. It's evident. It's not going to take you a year and a half's time to migrate from Assyria back into Africa.
That's right.
Africa was already named and explored. It was called Ethiopia at one point, which meant the land of black. The Hamites dwelt there. It was not a land where never mankind dwelt. This was the land where never mankind dwelt. This is where they came. It's irrefutable.
Yeah, some of these cats probably flunked geography class at school.
How'd it take you a year time to walk into Africa? A year and a half time. That don't make no sense.
I mean, didn't it take 3 years for Magellan to sail around the whole world?
It's crazy.
So a year and a half is half the world. I mean, so it's talking about the Americans.
Okay. The Christopher Columbus, whose unique seamanship and courage had opened the Americas to European penetration, also began the transatlantic slave trade. He started by shipping 10-chain Arawak men and women to
Wait, I don't think they heard that. So the transatlantic slave ship started before Africa then, right?
Absolutely, that's what to say right
You
there.
gotta bring that out again. Bring that out again.
The Christopher Columbus, whose unique seamanship and courage had opened the Americas to European penetration, also began the transatlantic slave trade.
Transatlantic slave ship.
He started by shipping 10 chain Arawak men and women to Soundz, Spain. He wrote enthusiastically to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella about the business possibilities. From here, in the name of the Blessed Trinity, we can send all the slaves that can be sold. When he loaded 1,100 Taino men and women aboard 4 Spanish ships.
Wait, so first he shipped 10 Arawak men to Spain. Now he came back and grabbed 1,100 Taino men and women and shipped them to Spain.
1,100 Taino men and women aboard Spanish ships. The crowding and the stormy Atlantic crossing took a fearful toll. Only 300 survived, but Columbus and Spain had decided to continue the profitable slave trade from the Americas. Seville became the slave capital of Spain.
All right, Lord, we gotta go back. We gotta go to the Bible now and expound on this. So the Tainos and Arawaks also went across the seas by ships also, way before Judah and the southern kingdom did. Let's pull out Deuteronomy chapter 28, start with verse 49. Deuteronomy 28, starting verse 49.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
From far.
From the end of the earth.
From the end of the earth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
You know, the Taino and Arawak Indians weren't speaking Spanish back then, they were speaking Hebrew. Verse 50.
A nation of fierce countenance.
Fierce countenance.
Which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
So these were savage beasts. Now let's go to verse 68, Deuteronomy 28:68.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
No man shall buy you. We know the Hebrew word for buy is kana, which means redeem.
That's right. And no man has been able to redeem us. We waiting on the redemption of the Most High. That's who's going to redeem us.
That's right. And I want to pull out Exodus chapter 13, verse 2 also, because to clarify what Egypt is according to the Bible. Exodus 13, verse 3.
The book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse 3. And Moses said unto the people, remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt.
Out of Egypt.
Out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Lord brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten.
So Egypt is synonymous with bondage. As people try to limit it to America being Egypt, but Spain was bondage also.
That's right.
So it could be anywhere where you're held captive at.
That's right.
So don't just limit it to America. Because the Tainos was kidnapped and brought to Spain, and I'm sure they weren't able to, the majority of them wasn't able to see their land in Hispaniola, the island of Hispaniola again either. So they went through the the indigenous people of Americans went through the transatlantic slave trade, just like the Southern Kingdom.
And to show you right there, they fit the curses. Ain't no way around it. This is your brethren. Stop hating your brethren. If any man hate his brethren, he hath committed murder in his heart.
That's right. Well said. Back to Black Indians. Or something else to bring out?
Third paragraph, it began with Columbus. Spanish priests were the first to denounce the horrors of bondage. In 1511, Dominican friar Montesinos called slavery a mortal sin and said cruelty and tyranny over Indians could not be justified by Christians. A few years later, Bishop Las Casas, who had witnessed countless Indian massacres by his fellow Spaniards, blamed greed for the horrors. They killed them Indians because they want to be rich and have much gold, which their sole aim. Las Casas included that in the New World, Spaniards had become devils and Indians were the only true Christians.
Read that again about this. So this is what the Spanish priests that said it. Now that's what their own priests that have condemned the people.
Los Casas concluded that in the New World, Spaniards had become devils, and Indians were the only true Christians.
So the Indians were the righteous ones and the Spaniards were devils.
Los Casas led a determined effort to halt Indian bondage. He pointed out that Indians died off by the thousands from slavery and European diseases. Forced labor,
not by the thousands.
Forced labor in Spanish mines in the Americas was too harsh that the average worker died before he was 26.
Wow, so the life expectancy was 26. Oh, man.
To meet need for laborers, Europeans looked next to Africa. The strongest sons and daughters of Africa were seized in their homes or fields or purchased from local traders. They were packed into cargo ships and shipped across the Atlantic. Thomas Brannigan, a Dublin youth who for many years served as a seaman aboard slave ships, described the boarding scene.
So Slovakia. So you see, after they obliterated and decimated the Northern Kingdom, instead of repenting for what they did, realizing the genocide that they committed, they went to Africa to get some more people to rape, massacre, and oppress. And let me pull out Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Or let me start at verse 2 first. Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 2 says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. So Mount Seir is talking about Esau, the so-called white man.
That's right.
Talking about his nation. Verse 5. Because thou hast a perpetual hatred. Perpetual means continual hatred. And hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity. In the time of their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. As if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So, I mean, Galatians 6:7 says, whatever man sows, that shall he reap. So, they got to pay for this crime against humanity.
And they have shed innocent blood, you know? They done did the same things that they did to us, they done did it to the Native Americans. I mean, they even did countless Thanksgivings, whereas though they slaughtered and pillaged countless Native American villages, where they burned their log houses and things of that nature.
Killing women and children.
Yep. Let me read a little excerpt from one of our flyers. What actually happened during Thanksgiving? The first actual proclaimed day of Thanksgiving Thanksgiving came in 1637 near present-day Groton, Connecticut, where over 700 men, women, and children of the Peacoat tribe had gathered for their annual green corn harvest festival. On the eve of the festival, the Pilgrims and Puritans surrounded the camp and demanded that everyone come out of their homes. Those who obliged with these terroristic demands were either shot dead or clubbed to death. Those who stayed inside their longhouses, including women and children, were burned to death. In all, more than 700 Peacoat men, women, and children were slaughtered that day. The victory was celebrated by William Bradford, the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony, holding a feast and trumpeted this as a day of Thanksgiving. The killings became more and more frenzied, with days of Thanksgiving feasts being held after each successful massacre. George Washington finally suggested that only one day of Thanksgiving per year be set aside instead of celebrating each and every massacre. Later, Abraham Lincoln decreed Thanksgiving Day to be a legal national holiday during the Civil War. On the same day, he ordered troops to march against the starving Sioux Indians in Minnesota. See, this is what they did. And history and the Bible prophecy speak for them. And then we blindly celebrate these holidays. So every time you celebrate Thanksgiving, you're celebrating the countless slaughter of your brothers, the Native Americans. You celebrating the slaughter of your Hebrew brothers that were born here on the slave ship.
That's right.
What you're doing is an act of treason.
I want to pull out Amos chapter 1, verse 11. It says, "Thus says Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually. He kept his wrath forever. But I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra." You know that Teman is one of the sons of Esau.
That's right. And they have a perpetual hatred. They just steady taking from these Native Americans. They taking away from Gad. They slaughtered them and they put them on reservations. Now they trying to run pipelines through their land. Near these sacred lands. With the Keystone Pipeline excel. With the Dakota Pipeline excel. This is what they doing. And y'all need to wake up. It began with Columbus, paragraph 5. Children are torn from their distracted parents. Parents from their screaming children. Wives from their frantic husbands. Husbands from their violated wives. Brothers from their loving sisters. And from their affectionate brothers. See them collected in flocks, and like a herd of swine driven to the ships. They cry, they struggle, they resist, but all in vain. No eyes pity, no hand helps.
Let me pull up Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 30. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. So we saw that the Edomites were violating the Native Americans' wives and separated sons and daughters. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. I mean, reading this, we're pretty much reading Deuteronomy 28.
Children are torn from their distracted parents. Parents from their screaming children. Wives from their frantic husbands. Husbands from their violated wives. Brothers from their loving sisters. Sisters from their affectionate brothers. They cry, they struggle, they resist, but all in vain. No eyes, pities, no hands, help.
Deuteronomy 28 all day. Come on.
The first Africans brought to the New World by European slavers probably arrived in April 1502 aboard a ship that brought the new governor of Hispaniola, Nicholas de Ovando. Soon after they landed, some Africans escaped to the woods and found a new home among the Native Americans. Later that year, Governor Ovando sent a request to King Ferdinand that no more Africans be sent to the Americas. His reason was simple. They fled among the Indians and taught them bad customs and never could be captured. Why did he feel they could never be retaken? Had the two peoples united as a military force at this early date? Were Native Americans prepared to drive off European slave hunters? Was an alliance taking shape in the woods? The answers to these questions are unclear. But Governor Ovando is describing more than problem of bad, untrustworthy servants. His words are more than a tropical rainforest. Governor Ovando's words in 1502 are the first hint of a growing problem from the European masters of the New World. The first notice of the new relationship budding beyond the control of the Spaniards.
Salaki, let me pull this out. So it said that when the Africans arrived on the island of Hispaniola, those who were able to escape was able to escape and run to the Native Americans. This is Psalms chapter 133, verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
That's right.
So when the Native Americans and the Negroes got together, it was a blessed thing. And they was able to resist their oppressors and dwell together in unity in communities.
Africans arrived on these shores with valuable assets for both Europeans and Native Americans. They were used to agricultural labor and working in field gangs, something unfamiliar to most Indians as experts in tropical agriculture. They had a lot to teach both white and red people. Further, Africans had a virtual immunity to European diseases such as smallpox, which wiped out Native Americans. For Europeans seeking a source of labor that could not escape Africans were ideal because they were 3,000 miles from home. They could not flee to loved ones as Indian slaves could. The African man and woman who fled could always be identified by skin color, and black became the badge of bondage. Native Americans soon discovered that Africans had some gifts that made them uniquely valuable. Through their slave experience, they qualified as experts on whites. Their diplomacy, armaments, motives, strengths, and weaknesses. Escaped slaves came bearing a knowledge of their masters, languages, defenses, and plans. Sometimes Africans were able to carry off muskets, machetes, or valuable gunpowder. For these reasons, their role could be crucial to Native Americans, their place secure in village life.
That's why it's important we need to identify who the Israelites are. We need to gather together. That's why Zephaniah chapter 2 verse 1 says, gather yourselves together. Ye gather together, O nation, not desired, because we have different skills and abilities that we can help uplift each other.
That's right.
We'll read that verse and we'll go to it.
Read this verse?
Yes, I'm working now.
Okay. Chapter 3, Black Indians. Between the races, we cannot dig too deep a gulf. In 1522, Europeans in the Americas first learned that slavery did not easily lead to enormous wealth. Only Christmas Day, African and Indian slaves on the plantations owned by Diego Columbus rose and murdered their masters and overseers. Nearby Native Americans joined the rebels. The beautiful island of Mycha'EL shook with the first recorded slave rebellion, Slakia, in the New World. The conspiracy had spread across the sprawling sugar plantations in the weeks before Christmas. Patiently, the plotters waited until Christmas Day, when the planters and their families would be bloated with food, soaked with liquor, and too weak or sleepy to offer much resistance. Then they struck plunging into the night to kill whites and find freedom.
Salakia, so this was a slave rebellion where they waited until Christmas Day, where they knew that the colonists would be drunk, full, in a jolly mood to ambush them and attack them.
For 2 days, they met little opposition, but on the third, Spanish troops caught up with the rebels in an open field and opened fire. The fugitives broke for the woods. The Europeans were unfamiliar with the treacherous terrain near the city of Santo Domingo. Few were willing to pursue their most dangerous slaves into an area suited to guerrilla warfare. Governor Diego Columbus, his Spanish troops, and advisors decided on a new strategy. The governor hired Native Americans for the dangerous task of tracking the fugitives. A hunt began. The exact outcome is unclear.
So he was able to strike their enemies and escape to the woods and get away with it. All praises to the Most High God, Yahweh. And we want to show you a story similar to that in Genesis 34, where our patriarchs did a similar strategy to get at their enemies. Genesis chapter 34. Start at verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 34, verse 1. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, when she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her.
So let's talk about Jacob's daughter, Dinah, where she went out about and a Hamite saw and lusted after her. So he went ahead and took her and raped her.
Verse 3, and his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel.
Continue.
And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, get me this damsel to wife.
So after he raped her, he fell in love with Dinah, and he wanted to marry her.
Verse 5, and Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor the father of Shechem went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel, and lied with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not be done.
Okay, skip to verse 13. So they're the Hamites are trying to negotiate with Jacob to get Dinah in marriage.
Verse 13. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor, his father, deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us.
Wait, what did they say? Read that again.
And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us.
So that's a reproach. So Israelite men, fathers, brothers, you should not be giving your daughters away to heathens.
That's right.
It's a reproach to your nation.
That's right. Verse 24. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his sons hearken all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of the city.
So Jacob and his boys made a deal with the Hamites that if all the males in the city would circumcise themselves, then they'll give their daughter Dinah to marriage to Shechem.
Verse 25. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out.
So we just wanted to bring that out to show you the parallels between the Native American Negroes attacking their oppressors when they was jolly and all drunk in Torah from celebrating Christmas, to attacking their Levi and Simeon attacking their enemies after all the men circumcised themselves and they was sore and in pain. So that's the interesting similarities between the two stories.
Will we read down 30?
Oh yeah, sure.
The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen, their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I, being few in number, they shall gather themselves together amongst me, and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with a harlot?
That's right. No new thing under the sun.
That's right. So since they raping and pillage, it's showing you they're going to get what they deserve.
Mm-hmm. So that was the Israelite strategy that they used.
That's right. Wait until they were somewhere incapacitated and they straight.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well said. Back to the Black Indians then.
Black Indians, the Seminole Wars, page 56. To disrupt their racial alliance, U.S. officials promoted slavery among the Seminoles. Of the 5 civilized nations, only the Seminoles rejected the kind of slavery the U.S. wanted. Wealthy Creeks who owed their riches to slave labor were sent to persuade Seminole chiefs to become slave masters.
Okay.
Whites and Creek Indians were encouraged to raid Seminole villages for slaves. Free Seminole men, women, and children were carried off and sold in southern slave markets. The position of black Seminoles, once secure within the nation, now needed strong support from Seminole chiefs. Division entered villages as chiefs argued various courses of action that might leave them in peace. Some Seminole chiefs claimed they now owned their black members, since that was the only language whites understood. But some who claimed this ownership took advantage of it and sent their black villagers off to labor hard in the fields. Seminole law making it impossible to sell a slave remained firmly in place. Seminole chiefs still married black women and had black military and diplomatic advisors.
Wait, that's key. So Seminole men did what? The Seminole chiefs?
Seminole chiefs still married black women and had black military and diplomatic advisors. But U.S. policy had begun to erode a strong friendship and trust and bend equality.
So there's a lot of mixing between the Negroes and the Seminole Indians, and some of the people from the South that think you're Jew, you might be tribe of Reuben.
That's right.
So you gotta be careful talking against the Native Americans because you might be in it because our people have a history of mixing with each other.
That's right.
And we're not able to, all of us aren't able to trace our father's ancestry all the way back to the 1500s or 1600s.
Yeah, and if you're from the Mid-Atlantic, shit, you might just actually be Cherokee and you don't even know it because it classifies you as one people.
You know what, brother? If you were to walk into any mosque in America and you just laid your hands on the first person or the third person or the fifth person that you see, you realize that you're laying your hands on a Native American?
I believe.
There were only 8% of the slaves that came to America. So how is it that there are so many more people that they claim are black or African American? I think they got the numbers wrong because a lot of Native Americans are the ones that they're counting as black folks too.
Well, we're really one.
Yeah. I think they got the numbers wrong because a lot of Native Americans are the ones that they're counting as black folks too.
Well, we're really one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're from the Mid-Atlantic, shit, you might just actually be Cherokee and you don't even know it because it classifies you as one people. You know? And that's just what it was. They called us all African Americans just because you was brown-skinned people. Mm-hmm. And you revolted against these heathens together. If you're from Louisiana, you mingled in with the Choctaw. You know? So, we the same people. And why you think they rebelled against each other? Against the Esau? Because we was the same people. I mean, some of the Indians you see on TV, come on, man, we know they from the wannabe tribe. They want to be Indians. But we know who the real natives are. And they look like us.
And act like us. It's a spiritual thing.
That's right.
Let me pull this out too. Jeremiah chapter 23. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith Yahweh. So the Most High is condemning you that whoever's teaching that the Native Americans are his people because you're scattering the flock.
That's right.
You're going off. And woe means destruction. So you gotta be careful when you teach them that the Native Americans are the Most High people. You don't know what you're talking about. Let me pull up Sirach chapter 5 verse 12 real quick also. It says, if thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. So if you don't know what you're talking about, you need to lay your hand upon your mouth.
That means shut your mouth.
Yeah, quit scattering the sheep.
Now we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 39, 40.
Yeah, this is an interesting chapter because it talks about the laws of slavery and servitude with the Israelites and the heathens. So we're going to bring both of those laws up for your edification.
The book of Leviticus chapter 25, 39, 40. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor,
So it's talking about Israelite brother.
and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant, but as an hired servant and as a sojourner. He shall be with thee and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee.
So if you have a brother in your nation that's poor, you don't enslave him. You hire him, you give him a job as a hired servant.
And we just read to you that the Seminoles, they married amongst the women. And we took their women to wives. And we were their chief advisors.
That's Torah. That's Torah.
They knew who we were. Yep, they followed Torah. I mean, that's the custom. They was keeping the custom. You can't deny it. It's historical fact and it's biblical fact. We're giving you the best of both worlds right here, right now. Deny that.
Now we'll look at the roof for the heathen now. Leviticus 25, 44 to 46.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 25, 44, and 46. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids.
Bondmen, slave men, and slave women. I'm talking about the heathen, not your brothers.
Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession.
They should be your what?
They shall be your possession. And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children, after you to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever.
For a couple years?
Forever.
For a couple decades?
Forever.
Gone.
But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule one over another with rigor.
All praises.
Yup, and they told you right there, they only made it seem like they was taking them as slaves to appease Esau. And it said that their children gonna be our possession. We can pick that up in Isaiah 14. Matter of fact, let's pick that up. The book of Isaiah, chapter 14. For the Lord shall have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them, and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, her servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
This is why the heathens hate the Bible.
They know what's coming to them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into Revelation 13 and 9. Revelations chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
So he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
So he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Which is the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's right.
We're waiting patiently for Yahweh, for the vengeance of Yahweh.
That's right. Shit, I mean, it don't get no more clear than that. If you know what's coming like we know what's coming, we suggest that you prepare.
That's right.
We suggest that you keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. We suggest that you love your brethren. These Native Americans and these Hispanics that some of y'all keep calling El Chapos ignorantly. Some of y'all keep hating on because some of them got lighter skin than you. Well, some of these black people got lighter skin than you. My mother got lighter skin than you. His father Esau, how about that?
Yeah, that's a shame. They're probably accept Bob Marley as a brother before they will the Hispanics or Native Americans.
Right? Titles is in the Bible. Titles is in the Bible, brothers. Let's bring that out.
Numbers.
The book of Numbers, 26, 35. These are the sons of Ephraim, after their families of Shuthelah, the family of the Shuthelaites, of Becher, the family of the Becherites, of Tahan, the family of the Tahanites. So that right there, that's the Taino Indians, the Tahanites. It's right there in the Bible in your face, you don't even know it. And you don't want to call these people your brothers.
And we know Ephraim as the so-called Puerto Ricans.
That's right.
This isn't a coincidence at all.
Don't get it twisted like we said, some of the northern kingdoms still stay behind in Africa. They did. The Yorubas, that means Jeroboam. The Yorubas is our northern kingdom brethren. They pretty much the same people as the Puerto Ricans. But you don't do the research and know what it is.
But not all the 10 tribes stayed in Africa. That's absurd.
That's right.
And you go against scripture because of Deuteronomy 20:64 said that all of Israel will be scattered across the four corners over there, not just Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
Right? All you gotta do is a little bit of research.
Read and comprehend. You don't believe in the Bible.
And some of these people gonna steer you wrong. They got a different agenda. If we don't unite, then we're gonna be damned. So let's bring us together.
Absolutely.
We're not condemning none of our Israelite brothers in Africa. We know they there. We know they there. We research. You gotta do the research.
Absolutely. Quit being lazy.
Yup, don't take our word. We give you a seed. Now hopefully the Most High water it.
And this is one book. We can bring so many more books that say the same thing.
Yup.
This is one book.
This is one book. We also pass out flyers. So when y'all see us, y'all can get the flyers too.
That's right.
And we got more information on them too.
Yeah, hit us up on Facebook if you have any questions. We're definitely approachable. We love it. And we can further
And we know some of our Northern Kingdom brothers, like we said, is still in Africa.
go out and teach all nations.
That's right. We scattered to the four corners of the earth. And stop thinking that the chart is false. It ain't false. It's incomplete. But we got other portions of it. We do research.
And we're
you do
slowly
the
adding on
research.
to it. Slowly adding on.
That's right.
As the Most High gives us to understand.
The chart is Genesis 49. Get in it and read it. See the attributes of the people.
And Deuteronomy 33.
That's all you gotta do is do a little research. You're gonna see the attributes of the people. Get understanding. Cause as far as y'all fighting over that chart, I'm done fighting over that chart.
That's right.
I'm done with that.
Every Israelite's not going to look like Shaq.
Nope, not at all.
That's foolish.
Now let's get back to keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. I'm not fighting over this chart. I'm not gonna fight with you over who Esau is, because at the end of the day, they all put us in slavery. Now get right with your brethren. Judah don't vex Ephraim.
That's right.
And Ephraim don't envy Judah. Now let's get right, keep these laws, statutes, commandments so we can go home.
That's right. I brought out in James chapter 1. The 12 tribes scattered. That's right. And that's the New Testament. Let's read that real quick. James chapter 1.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord, Yahushua, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
Which are scattered.
Abroad.
Scattered.
Abroad.
The 12 tribes scattered.
Abroad.
Not Judah, Levi, and Benjamin, but talk about the 12 tribes.
That's right.
Scattered abroad.
Which means outside one's country. to the four corners of the earth. Greetings to the 12 tribes. Those in Asia, those that are in so-called Europe, those in South America, those in the South Pacific. Greetings.
That's right.
And that's how we gonna do it.
Yep, Russia, China.
Yep, wherever you at. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel. You could be in Romania. Greetings. You could be in East India. Greetings.
Shalom.
Yup.
Finish out the book then. We're at the last stretch of the lesson. We've got one more thing to bring out from the book. We just wanted to share a few gems, a few of the many gems from the book showing that the indigenous people, the Americans, are the tribes of Israel, the northern kingdom.
The finest looking people. The second Seminole War. General Jessup became the first, Salakia, page 60. General Jessup became the first commander to recognize the crucial role Black Seminoles played in the nation throughout my operations. I found the Negroes the most active and determined warriors. And during the conferences with the Indian chief, I ascertained that they exercised an almost controlling influence over them.
They exercise almost a what? This is key.
A controlling influence over them. General Jessup first tried to destroy this alliance by assaulting Black Seminole villages and holding their women and children hostage. He promised Creek mercenaries plunder.
Well, Slocky, that's the key part we wanted, which shows how the Negroes exercise overwhelming, controlling influence on the Native Americans.
And from there, we're going to go to the book of Genesis 49, verse 8.
Show you this is how Bible prophecy is being fulfilled, was fulfilled.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 8. This is the chart, y'all. Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise.
Who?
Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
So, brother, he's talking about the other 11 tribes.
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
Thy father's children shall what?
Shall bow down before thee.
Now let's read that section again.
General Jessup became the first commander to recognize the crucial role Black Seminoles played in the nation. Throughout my operations, I found the Negroes the most active and determined warriors, and during the conferences with the Indian chief, I ascertained that they exercised an almost controlling influence over them. General Jessup first tried to destroy the alliance by assaulting Black Seminole villages and holding their women and children hostage.
So this was a report from an Edomite that noticed it. How the Native Americans had respect and reverence to the tribe, to the Jews, to the Negroes.
And not only that, like, we are whom our brothers shall praise. You see it right now. You see it in the music. We do hip-hop, the other tribes do hip-hop. We play sports, the other tribes play sports. And they follow suit. We the salt of the earth.
That's right.
So it was first that this word and this gospel go to Judah. And now it's going to the other 10 tribes.
That's right. Now do you see the Moabites or the Ishmaelites respect or reverence the Negro?
No.
Who else? The Edomites, you know, they sure hell ain't respecting or reverence.
They try to be culture vultures. But we in fellowship with the other tribes that surround us, we living amongst them. We being oppressed together. Judah and Ephraim was oppressed together. We taking his captives together right now.
Jeremiah 50, verse 33.
Let's get it.
Okay, I got it. So this is prophecy of America in the latter days. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, they refused to let them go. So it's talking about the northern kingdom and southern kingdom being oppressed and held in Babylon, which is America today.
Keep reading.
Verse 34, their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their case, and he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon.
That's right.
All praise. We're looking for that day where he's going to disquiet the inhabitants.
That's right.
In grand fashion.
So you got anything else, man?
Yeah, there's a couple other references. See, the Native Americans are referencing and honoring the Negroes. It was page 61 of this paragraph.
Okay. Under their own leaders, Negro Abraham and John Horse, or Kohia, and in concert with Chief Osceola and the Wildcat Black Seminoles pursued their strategy. Were down U.S. armed might until compromise was possible. Finally, on March 6, 1837, both sides signed the treaty granting the Seminoles keep their Negroes, their bona fide property, and shall accompany them to the West.
Okay.
Just despite pressure from U.S. slaveholders and their political figures, felt that he had no choice. The Negroes rule the Indians, and it is important.
Wait. I thought the Seminoles possessed the Negroes.
The Negroes rule the Indians, and it is important that they should feel themselves secure. If they should become alarmed and hold out, the war will be resumed.
That is powerful. Did you realize what you just read? Esau tried to break the prophecy of Genesis 49:8, where it says that Judah would be the head tribe, and forcing the Seminoles to make Judah their possession. But it still says that the Negroes ruled over the Indians. So Esau couldn't break the prophecy of Genesis 49 verse 8. That is powerful. Read that again, Genesis 49:8. I got it up. Genesis 49:8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
I want to read another passage. I want to go to the book of Zechariah, chapter 12, verse 7. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem.
All praises to Yahweh.
All praises.
All praises.
Oh wow, that's so beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Abba Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah, HaMashiach.
All praise to the Most High. I want to give a shout out to Hayam Yah, Yahuda,
Shalom.
Shalom, Asher Shabbat.
Much love to you.
I want to give a shout out to Uriel ben Judah, Solomon ben Israel, Yazar Adarah,
Shalom.
Azariah ben Yasharallah,
Shalom.
Meshach ben Tahan,
Shalom.
Brother Hosea Kanai,
Shalom.
Desmond Honeycutt, Razor J. Johnson, Shalom.
To the whole rise of the chosen truth beyond the surface.
Yeah, and thank you for those who are watching in Ghana, those who are watching in Nigeria,
Shalom.
the United Kingdom,
Shalom.
Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Worcester, Massachusetts, Mobile, Alabama, and all of the supporters. Anybody I'm forgetting, Shalom.
Are you true disciples?
Oh yeah, true disciples, Shalom. And anybody else I'm forgetting, shout out to Elder Shakya, Officer Mala, Shalom. And we appreciate y'all. We appreciate the support. And we appreciate any tutelage that y'all willing to give. We'd like y'all to continue as we build on this page, The Rise of the Chosen Truth Beyond the Surface Temple. You can find any lesson that you may have missed on the Mycha'EL Israel's page on YouTube. And if you have any questions, hit me up, Yachanan Maccabeus. I got an inbox. We love to hear from you. And we love to learn from you as well.
That's right.
And if you got any questions, ask me. And if I know it, I answer them. And if I don't know, hey, we'll find out together. Straight like that. Because I'm always willing to learn. And if I know something, I'm apt to teach. Anything else you want to add? Anything you want to say?
That's it. Hope you have a blessed Shabbat, and looking forward to doing more great things for the Most High.
All praise to the Most High, man. Yeah,